Next time, we join the competitors on the Silkway Rally. And Lewis Hamilton looks ahead to F1's Belgian Grand Prix. Meanwhile, log on to the Grid online to replay the best bits of today's show and to see all the great features you may have missed from previous episodes. It's all at grid1.tv. See you next time.
Yo, right now, kick the bass for them brothers and let them know what goes on.
Rolling stones of the rap game, not bragging. Lips bigger than Jagger, not sagging. Rolling backwards, I'ma leave it at that. That ain't got nothing to
The Queen's coronation, but one member of the royal party walks alone, Prince Philip's mother, Alice, a forgotten hero of World War II.
Without her, they would have perished.
Who was locked in an asylum.
Nobody wanted to talk about it, and it was hushed up.
The Queen's mother-in-law, Tuesday at 9 on 4.
Our morning continues now with the story of one of Britain's top Paralympians, Ben Rushgrove.
If someone asks me, would you like your legs back? The answer would still always be no. Because 15 years later, and I'm in probably one of the best places I've been.
Sainsbury's are proud to sponsor the London 2012 Paralympic Games, in case you hadn't noticed.
I remember it clear as day. We were doing a speed workout on a Friday, and the times that Ben was coming down with were outstanding. It was just far and away the fastest he's ever run before in his life, before or since. And at that point, I thought, okay, gold is ours. Did that workout on the Friday. The next day was a Saturday, and that's when the wrench hit me in the back of the head. I heard a snap, like a branch was breaking. Just a clean old snap. And I knew immediately that we had a problem.
When we got the news that Ben had injured his foot or broken a bone in his foot ready for Beijing, just 3 weeks before he's due to go, yeah, it leaves your mouth dry, to say the least.
We had 3 weeks until Ben raced the 100 meters in Beijing. We then decided we could inject Ben's foot with anesthetic. Ben was sitting on the table, stuck the needle into the fracture site. Ben passed out immediately. The next day was the race. We showed up at 8 o'clock in the morning, went into the little medical area, inject Ben, Ben passes out, take Ben's foot up, Ben wakes up.
And when Ben came out, I don't think anybody hardly spoke to each other, did they really? So then I kind of heart fell because I thought I didn't know whether he was going to get halfway down the track and not make it. But then you kind of knew he was going to give it his best because he's got there. He's in his GB kit. He's on the starting blocks, and you know that, you could see that he just felt like really great about being there, didn't he? I could hardly watch the race because I didn't even expect him to finish, really, I don't think.
Ben ran a new personal best and brought home the silver medal.
I mean, it's fantastic when you see the flag go up behind anybody that you're supporting, but when it happens to be your own child as well,
Yeah.
then it's a very, very, very special moment.
Yeah.
Standing on the start line in Beijing, 70,000 people all cheering you on, there's nothing like it. You just cannot replicate that.
To come through in the final of your first Paralympic Games under pressure, it doesn't really get better than that. And that says everything you need to know about Ben.
For me, it was very much a case of I should have got the gold medal. But at the same time, I look at all the problems that we had.
Coming out of Beijing, we had two problems with Ben's foot. One, we had the recent fracture from when he rolled his ankle. And then the other problem we were having was with the navicular bone. One of the ways that we were looking at dealing with that was to look into getting specific shoes made for Ben or some orthotics made for Ben that would then take some of the stress away from the bones themselves in the ankle. The sport engineering people in Loughborough were doing some projects on making shoes specifically for athletes. We got in contact with them and the whole thing at Loughborough started. Well, what I would like is for that potential to be met. And that potential is to be the best 36 sprinter that's ever walked the planet.
But if we play this through, the real problem is clear at 50 metres. You can see Bosch, his midfoot completely follows through and really lows on the medial side. The medial arch of his foot follows right through and causes him severe pain because of that impact force.
Well, it started obviously with his birth because that's when Ben's problem started. Ben arrived early and within 2 days he was on an incubator being fully ventilated. That was a really scary time for us. I won't go into the details, it was a real blue light situation, and that night we actually thought we'd lost Ben, and they prepared us for that. They thought that he was going to die. But again, Ben did survive, and we did bring him home after a month, didn't we? But it wasn't that long, was it, until we realised that actually Ben wasn't reacting to things in the same way that our other friends who'd got babies was reacting. So we were referred then to the hospital again. The consultant, very old school, "Mother, you're absolutely right, your baby's deaf." It wasn't that long after that we realised that Ben wasn't sitting up or holding his head right, or I don't know. So again, we went back to the hospital to see another consultant, and we were told that Ben had got cerebral palsy, and that they didn't know how severe that would be at this stage, but it was, in all probability, Ben probably wouldn't walk. And I still have got a really vivid mental picture in my mind of opening a door and there just being this kind of bright white space And this was the disabled world, and I knew absolutely nothing. I'd got nothing to go into that space.
Within cerebral palsy sport, there's different categories that they fit people into. Category 6 is where it affects the entire body. Ben fits as a 6.
We didn't think, oh, well, he's not going to walk. We thought, well, right, there's a chance he might not walk, but what can we do to give him the best chance possible to walk?
But you used to take him to the park.
But yes, I took him to the park, and it was a real rigmarole. I'd have to open the front door, you know, I'd kind of load the pram in, I'd load the baby walker in, I'd load Ben into the car, I'd get to the other end, and I'd get the baby walker out, positioned along the kind of path, and I'd get Ben out, and as soon as I'd hold on to him while I locked the car, because as soon as I let Ben go on the baby walker, he was off, kind of like a rocket, because he only had one speed, and that was fast.
Because of the way that the cerebral palsy affects the way his legs move, he does strike the ground in exactly the same way with his right leg all the time, which means that there's a lot of stress goes through his ankle. One of the problems I've got as his coach is to make sure that I work around that.
Okay, some days I turn up for training and I hate it. And I hate it for a number of reasons. Normally I hate it because I don't see the point, okay? And normally the reason I don't see the point is because I'm injured. And whenever you're injured and you're trying to train when you're injured, it just seems pointless.
I recognize the fact that he has limited amounts that he can do on that foot, which is where the pool sessions come in, which is where the extra work in the gym comes in. Because if I can't get him to do a speed session, I've got to be accessing the high intensity nature of the work that I want to do in some manner. One of the things I was looking for from the project that we started with Loughborough to get something specific made for Ben's footwear was to enable us to do more training.
It's too aggressive. It's hurting in here a lot. Well, in comparison with the other ones, these are better.
He's gone from a navicular fracture, which healed up, to an impingement issue in that ankle just because of the way that his foot rolls through on the stride. We've taken steps to fix that, and it's just taken time. We think we're pretty close to being able to deal with it now, and time will tell if we are. Everything you do in athletics is a risk. Everything you do in sport is a risk. One of the big things between me and Ben is, with the training and competition that Ben does, is this ankle of his. But the risk with his ankle, if everything it comes down too much on the health and safety side as opposed to taking some risks, you're just not going to achieve the gold medal.
To be in a nation so proud of its sport and so backing of the Paralympic sport, it's just nice to to go out there and do them proud.
Being funny on 4 tonight.
I went to the toilet, and with the gentlest of pushes, the world fell out of my arse.
can't get my head around this whole idea that nudism's normal. If nudism's normal, how come I'm still banned from Euro Disney?
Funny Fortnight. Tonight at 9 on 4.
This Friday, the party is coming to your house as world-class DJs and visual artists take over Channel 4. 6 hours of live, uninterrupted killer tunes and stunning visuals direct your living room in a unique, interactive all-nighter. So push back your sofas for the ultimate house party. Friday from midnight on 4. After Idris Elba's How Clubbing Changed the World.
Sainsbury's are proud to sponsor the London 2012 Paralympic Games. But you've probably spotted that.
We did fight for him to go to a mainstream school, and we won that battle, and he did start at a mainstream school.
You probably don't remember it, but this was the staff room when I first got here.
Yes.
And there was a table over there, and that's where you used to sit.
I think when they all start in reception, then it's not quite so noticeable that somebody's different. But Ben has never been a victim at school, has he? He's not ever been bullied, as far as we know.
I remember one day at school, I got cornered in between. There was a porter cabin thing on one side and the PE shed on the other side. And I remember everybody was kind of shouting at me and whatever, you know, really not very nice, in a very kind of, you know, not very nice way. And I remember the year one teacher at the time came by and saw this going on and stepped in and stopped it, luckily. And, yeah, and I think it was at that point that I realised that I wasn't like all the other students, if you like, yeah? But kind of after that instant, I kind of made the decision that I was going to stand up for myself more in the playground and in school and whatever. And I did that very well, I think. You know, I never again was I put in that position where anybody could kind of bully me. Teachers and people here really were guessing. They were looking at me and basically they were trying to address my needs, but they weren't necessarily addressing Ben Rushgrave as a whole, if that makes sense.
And I know that this teacher did not want Ben in his class. He'd observed him across the corridor for 2 years, and he really tried hard. We had one very sticky meeting, which was an annual review meeting, where this particular teacher made it very, very plain that he didn't think Ben should be in a mainstream school and he didn't want Ben in the classroom.
I was always taken out of the room and told to go and, you know, do something else.
6 weeks later, this teacher came up to me in the playground and he said to me, "I am so sorry for the way I behaved." He said, "Ben is the brightest spark in my class."
I was always fighting, if you like, to be included in things.
It's the reading and the writing, you know, that he's got problems with. I mean, still he has difficulty writing his name.
So you got to go from a point of view of saying, well, it's very important that Ben learns to read and write, to a point of view where it says it's okay if Ben can't read and write that well because he can do all the other things really well.
The ed psych would come and do tests on him, and the ed psych started to say to us that he'd never had a child that had got such a kind of wide profile, you know, so low in some areas and so high in other areas.
And that, I guess that's one of the other reasons why I like sport so much, is because sport is a bit like that, isn't it? Sport is a bit like, you know, it's not about what you can't do, it's more about what you can do.
You wanna push it as far as it goes. Oh, it makes sense. You wanna push it. You wanna push it as far as it goes. Stay in the same boy.
Ben had actually become quite a handful by this time in terms of his behaviour. I mean, at home he had as well, hadn't he? He was becoming very...
Angry. I did. I felt angry. I was a very angry person when I was younger, and I realised that. And, you know, I used to go home and, you know, sometimes I would flip out, basically, and go a bit AWOL. But you know, I don't necessarily think that that's anything unusual, if that makes sense. I think a lot of people go a bit AWOL. You know, a lot of people have a bit of a flip out at some point. You know, it's just one of the things that happens.
Anyway, he became quite badly behaved, and I think we felt that if he'd gone to a local comprehensive school with the support that's available there, that he would have, I mean, he'd really made no progress, had he, at primary school.
Quite a bit. I remember being very angry at that time because it was so difficult, and because I had all these brilliant ideas and I just wanted to get them out there and I couldn't, basically.
And so I think my argument said, you know, if you send him there, you're going to have a very angry, disaffected teenager on your hands, and for, you know, then he's going to become a very angry, disaffected adult, and you know, who knows what's going to happen to him.
All these things that I'm highlighting, you know, aren't necessarily things that I look back on and, you know, think, oh, if only I hadn't have done those things, you know, that's what's happened, and, you know, I dealt with them, you know, at the time, and I think they made me a stronger, more determined person as a result. And in many ways, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so good at athletics now, is because mentally I'm there, and the reason I'm there partly is because I had this kind of build this kind of shell a little bit around me, I suppose, to kind of try and protect me from all the knocks and bangs that you get.
We had a statement review meeting, and at that statement review meeting I said that we wanted Ben to go to a special school, and the Ed site reacted as if I'd said that we wanted Ben to go to school on Mars. So they gave in and they said, well, he can go now. And so we actually sent him at 10 years old away to board. Ben was initially very keen, wasn't he? And I took him off, and it was all very hunky-dory that day, until I told him I was leaving him there. And then Ben went ballistic, hid my car keys. Well, I don't know, anyway. That's a very sad story. How I got home that day, I do not know. Because I had to leave him being physically restrained in the car park and drive off.
I know it's still quite difficult for me to talk about this now because, you know, it's something which I kind of bury at the back of your mind. You don't really want to bring it back up, but, you know, I remember having an enormous argument with all the staff because basically eventually Mum just got in the car and drove off. She was like, you know, there's nothing else I can do. I'm sure Mum was absolutely devastated, but, you know, literally she just got in the car and drove off. And I wanted to run out after the car. And the staff in the house basically had to restrain me. I remember the first night in Haywood House was just awful. I didn't sleep hardly at all. But it's amazing how quickly you get over those kind of things.
He was in a class of 10, they were all boys, and they had a whale of a time, didn't they, the 10 of them together. They were really, you know, good friends, and And it was just all normal. They just had a laugh, you know, and joke, didn't they? And they all...
No one was going to laugh at him for anything that he was going to do.
I just allowed Ben, you know, to develop his personality.
When I arrived here, I realised that I didn't have a lot of problems compared with a lot of other people in my class. You know, that enabled me to go from being the disabled one in the room, if you like, to being the more able one in the room. And kind of that resulted in me having more responsibility and more freedom to do what I wanted to do.
Hello, Ben. How are you? It's good
Really
to see
good.
you.
How are you?
It's good to see you.
Oh, man.
He was involved in the chair ball, he was involved in the wheelchair hockey.
He was part of the school council, so he met with the governors, and he was forever campaigning for things and for improvements for the students.
There was obviously the athletic squad and so on, and Ben was involved in all of them. And more than just being involved, I mean, by the time he left, he was running the chair ball and the hockey.
He did go to them as a 10-year-old, very angry young man, didn't he? Frustrated. And he came out just the most...
Well, just so confident and so together, really. He got to do things that certainly he wouldn't have done in a mainstream school.
When you first came here, I had a bit of a run-in with the head of physio then, and there were quite a few people that were ambulant then, weren't there?
Yeah, there were.
There were, I don't know, but probably maybe 15 or 20.
Yeah.
And I was told that there were only 3 people in the school that were allowed to run, and you weren't one of them. So yes, I fought for you to run.
Thank you very much. It's a good job you did.
Absolutely, yeah, can you imagine? So...
Sainsbury's are proud to sponsor the London 2012 Paralympic Games, as you may have guessed.
Watch the coronation. The camera concentrates on the royal party, but behind comes another solitary figure in grey, the Duke of Edinburgh's mum.
On Tuesday at 9, meet Princess Alice,
There was another Queen Mum, very eccentric but also incredibly strong-willed.
a forgotten woman who renounced her regal background.
She was there in the front, literally wrapping the bandages.
A hero of World War II.
Without her, they would have perished.
Locked up in an asylum.
Nobody wanted to talk about it, and it was hushed up.
Discover one of the royal family's best-kept secrets, the Queen's mother-in-law, Tuesday at 9 on 4.
On tomorrow's Sunday Brunch, there'll be medals aplenty as we're paid a visit by Team GB.
We've got music from Soul Smoothie, Michael Kiwanuka.
All topped off with Vic and Bob, kings of surreal comedy.
At Sunday Brunch tomorrow morning at 10 on Channel 4.
I'm actually doing this for everybody else. I can't let them down. They're my family, they're my friends. I need to throw that stick as far as I can.
The school was for physically disabled children, so that all the children at the school were intellectually, you know, kind of bright, yeah. But I mean, the school did much more for Ben than the academic side. I mean, that was fantastic enough, but I think it was Sandra, who's the PE teacher there. She'd noticed Ben racing around the school, you know, and she thought, oh, hang on a minute, looks quite fast, kind of thing.
So I'm not sure if this is a wishing well, but I don't know whether you'll have a London 2012 wish you might want to mentally cast.
No, I'm all right.
You're all right?
Yeah.
Because wishes don't work, do they? Because it's the training that works, isn't it?
I don't rely on luck to win.
Did you ever find the sheep like woke you up? 'Cause were you in one of these end wings?
Yeah, but I was deaf. I didn't care.
Oh, so that could
And one of the big problems with being deaf is that you don't always follow what's going on, right? You just feel like you're being left out again, basically. And because you can't follow the conversation properly, then you don't develop as quickly as everybody else, like in terms of socially, I guess. People talk very quietly with each other, and they don't, and there's a lot of kind of subconscious signals that they're giving off as well, And when you're deaf, you don't pick up on the fact they're talking really quietly, and B, you're concentrating so hard on trying to hear them and lip reading that your mind doesn't always pick up on all the other little tells that are going on that they're saying, I guess.
When we went through the nationals, in year 7, you were about 5th in the 100 metres, I think.
Yes.
In year 8, I think you were 3rd.
Yes.
Year 9, you had to go to France and you missed it. Year 10, you were against the year 11s.
Yes.
And then in year 11, you won. And I remember that vividly as well.
She took him to Blackpool for the national youth games, disabled games, and he was spotted there. So then it became more serious then. Ben was doing really well, and it's something that he was excelling at. The talent squad at UKA got in touch with Bath University and said, did they have a coach for this lad? And then phoned me and said, yes, this guy Rob Ellchuk, never heard of him, he said, but he runs an athletics club. Anybody can join, and he's prepared to take Ben. I didn't know how Rob was going to take to Ben. I didn't know whether Rob's arm had been forced.
Then the question came to me, would I be willing to work with a disability athlete? And my answer was, of course, yes, I would.
So I took him down there and met Rob. And Rob said, oh, yeah, fine, right, yeah, oh, hello, Ben, yeah, right, yeah, OK, leave him, yeah, we'll come back for him in a couple of hours kind of thing. And I thought, right. And I left him there, and it's been a success story from day one, really.
Coming from where I do in Canada, we always had members of the training group that we just accepted as people and realized afterwards that they were Paralympians. To say somebody's disabled means that they're not capable of doing stuff. That's a load of because they're very capable of doing anything they want to do. Yes, people are visually impaired, or they've got an amputation of some kind, or they've got cerebral palsy, which has its implications on things, or they're confined to a wheelchair. But it's the way that we set things up in society that then would make them disabled, as opposed to just someone who's just got a different way of moving around, or a different way of seeing the world, and seeing that difference as disabling, as opposed to just who they are. With the Paralympic movement, you can definitely see a difference in people's confidence levels. And not because you're going out and doing things specifically for it, but just because you become a confident person when you're on the track. And then just try to start bleeding that as much over into everyday life as possible, which is helped by the stuff that comes on TV, the stuff you get in the papers, about the fact that, these athletes are outstanding and great. Let's celebrate the fact that they are.
I'm Katrina Hart. I'm a 100 and 200 metre runner. I've been training with Rob since about 2008, so around 2 years now.
Hi, my name's Paul Blake and my events are 400, 800 and 1500. I am T36, so the same as Ben, but just in different events.
can't start, speculating on whether I'm going to win a gold medal or anything at World Champs, because that's not my place to do that.
As far as I was concerned, everything looked good for the summer in regaining his European record, if not the world record. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way.
This is an MRI scan image of Ben's knee, and what you can see is there's a bright white area in the cartilage surface of the kneecap, which is the defect. And that's continuing to cause symptoms of pain when he loads that area of cartilage. And we think he's also possibly got a loose body within the knee.
The goal is still the gold medal in the 100 meters and the 200 meters at the World Championships, and I still believe that we can get that done. But I will be needing a block of time where we have relatively uninterrupted training in order to accomplish that. Therefore, we're getting the surgery done right in the middle of the season, as opposed to waiting to the end of it.
I don't like the idea of going for surgery. This is my first time in surgery, and I am, a bit scared of how it's all going to go. I don't like the idea of somebody going into your body and fiddling about with things.
And then now we can see into the knee. So this is above the kneecap. We're looking in there, gradually coming down. That's the kneecap in front of us. And there's the hole. Grab on. You just come to the top, man. That's great. We've got a little grabber here. Just going to try and get to that loose body. Grab it and remove it. There we go.
In July, when Ben had his operation on his knee to clean up the cartilage problem that he was having, the recovery period that we had to work with was longer than was ideal. And it was 6 weeks before we could start properly running again. Because of the way that the surgeon did the work on the knee, everything was going perfectly. Up until the point that his other knee started bothering him again. He walked into training and said, my knees, the cartilage problem is back, and there's a problem here. We have a doctor's appointment on Monday. It presents an absolutely massive challenge.
I don't feel particularly positive about everything at the moment. I'm not in a situation at the moment where things are going well. In Gateshead, the guy who won my classification equalled my season's best. So at that point, I was no longer even the quickest guy in my classification in Great Britain anymore. I think I've lost track of that bigger picture a little bit this season. The bigger picture is that we're going to the World Champs and then we're going to go to London.
We can still make it work. We drew out a training plan. We drew out all the things that needed to be done because it's come down to very, very tight margins. And we made a decision really quickly at that point, again, to go ahead with the surgery. On the first operation, it was 6 weeks before we could start properly running again. So then when we go around the next time and he has to get the other knee operated on, we didn't have a 6-week window to operate with. We had to have quick recovery. So the doctor went in, unzipped the knee, took out what needed to be taken out, zipped him back up, sent him away. And now we just have to try and build up as much as possible for the next 12 weeks. I've got just under 5 weeks to make sure that engine's running at Ferrari level.
He's training really well. His times keep improving, so yeah, I think he's got a really good chance.
Keeping in mind that he's got to run 12:2 or faster in roughly 48 days' time.
Anyone else can perform on the day, so just hope it's Ben.
It'll be interesting because Ben's competition's been running really well. Ben's main competition will be Huawei So from Hong Kong. We're not going to see him until we get over to New Zealand, though. And same with the Ukrainian, Roman, we're not going to see him till New Zealand. And who wins on the day is just going to be what you always look for in a competition, who can come through under all that pressure.
When you're running 100 meters, there's not a lot you can do about it in that many seconds. Like, you go there and you just run as fast as you can run. And either it's fast enough or it isn't. Right? And once you train to make it faster, when you're actually there, that's it. There's nothing more that can be done.
To be in a nation so proud of its sport and so backing of the Paralympic sport, it's just nice to to go out there and do them proud.
Next week on Hollyoaks.
Nothing you do can push me away.
I've never seen a man so obsessed. Obsessed with me. Scary.
The girl needs help.
Last night, you confided your deepest, darkest secrets with me.
More than anyone else, you get me. You're still here.
I love you. Say it.
It's Mercy, she's in danger. Hollyoaks, all next week at 6:30 on 4.
Sainsbury's are proud to sponsor the London 2012 Paralympic Games. But you've probably spotted that.
To welcome you all here to the 2011 IPC Athletics World Championships.
So Alama Bijit's got away to a very good start, as did Paul Blake of Great Britain in lane 3. It is Zernov, the Russian, in lane 4. It is Paul Blake of Great Britain in lane 3. Now the Russian begins to ask some questions of Blake. Can he respond? Blake begins to get the arms going. We know he's got the strength. He finished second in the men's 800 metres. Paul Blake of Great Britain now starts to put his head down. Look at the grit, the determination. And Paul Blake of Great Britain will run away with this comfortably in the finish to take a gold medal. And it will be in second place. It will be the Russian.
I think you can only really do it in one way. You just got to think, run fast. That's it. That's all you got to do, and whatever happens, happens.
Away cleanly in the final of the T37 women's 200 metres, but as they come into the bend in the middle of the track, it is the tall, imposing figure of Seifert of Germany who will lead with about 70 metres left to run. But now comes the British athlete. This is a very good run. In fact, on the inside from Katrina Hart of Great Britain. Can she hang on? Photo finish, perhaps. It will be the German, though. Seifert falls! Drama on the track, and the gold medal will go to Katrina Hart of Great Britain. And the emotion on the track says it all. And look at the emotion from the British athlete. Brilliant. And that's what it's all about, all that hard work, and then just to get the accolades of your coach.
Absolutely overjoyed, fantastic, great result. Katrina is so happy. She's been dreaming about this for the last 6 years, and now she's got it.
Gold medalist and 2011 IPC Athletics World Champion, representing Great Britain, Katrina Hart.
So the day of the race comes round, and in some ways you've done all the hard work by that point. All the training's already been done. The key now is basically just not to screw it up. But that's not what goes through your head. So instead you start to think about, well, what can I do? What can I control? That is the absolute key to getting in the zone. Only think about things that you can control. So if you turn up and, I know, it's raining really hard, you can't control that, can you? There's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. So forget about it, right? So instead you start to think about things like your drills, making sure that your arms are moving in the correct way, just making sure that everything feels loose and relaxed and happy in some ways. It's, a lot of positive thinking is just about being happy. I'm just trying to think about a couple of key things, which Rob and I will talk about and reinforce throughout the entire warm-up, basically, all the way up to the moment when I enter final call.
So it's going to come down to Roman Pavlik, Huawei So, and Ben Rushgrove. Out of those, I am fully backing Ben Rushgrove to win.
The gun goes and you move your hand, because that's the first movement you make. After you move your hand, everything else just happens. It just flows. And then you cross the finish line. And you turn around and you go, who won? And you hope it was you.
Surely they must be starting just about now.
Oh, good.
There he is, lane 4.
These competitors incredibly focused. This is Roman Pavlik. He has a season best coming into this of 12.36. And this is Benjamin Rushgrove, the silver medalist from the Paralympics in Beijing.
He looks all right. Yeah, he's in the zone.
And Huawei So of Hong Kong.
I anticipate a very close race, and I think it's going to be a cracker.
The other one to watch is the Chinese athlete as well on the outside. Puts his hand in the air, Huawei So.
Got away cleanly in this final, and a very good start there on lane 3 from the Ukrainian Pavlik. Now we expect to see the challenge come from the world record holder, Huawei So of Hong Kong, and he will get there. It will be the Englishman on the inside, Benjamin Rushgrove, who will pick up the silver medal, and I think Pavlik of the Ukraine will take out the bronze medal.
Go for it, man. And you're buzzing. Silver, happy? Very happy, very happy. I mean, it would have been really nice to get the gold medal, obviously. Everybody wants the gold medal. You had it already ready to send, did you?
Pictures are up, texts are sent. People are already saying well done.
Well, that was
1/10 of a second faster than you've ever run before. And even though it's not yours alone, equal European record again. That's all you can do. I mean, he's run a personal best, 1/10 of a second faster than he'd never run before. In sprinting terms, that's a mile. The only person that beat him, you know, the world record holder beat him. Really, you can't ask for anything better than that. One of the things that I love about sprint racing is the fact that everything does come down to the tiniest of margins. You do everything possible in your power to do something correctly, and you come second by 5/100ths of a second, or like in Ben's 100, you win the silver medal by 100th of a second. To put that into perspective, that's about the same amount of time it takes to blink your eye.
Whether you're on the up stride or the down stride when you get to the line, all those kind of things are just crucial.
And then you go back and you train 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 just to eat away the blink of an eye.
Your reaction time to the gun.
And the best person on the day gets it. It's not a Disney movie where you have a perfectly happy ending every time.
The whole philosophy isn't about winning. It's about being the best that you can be.
And that's the spur then to go on to the next part. To get the training in, to get the competition in between now and London.
If we can get a sellout crowd in London, it'll be even better. And that's lift the atmosphere and make the games a whole new level again. Beijing did it really well, and there's no reason why Great Britain can't do the same thing. So bring on London. My mum told me the story about this doctor who told her that he didn't think I would ever be able to walk. And, well, he was wrong, wasn't he?
This place expands like it never planned it out. The people walk, they cannot comprehend a scale. But that's not its charm, it was never there. To get lost here is difficult, but I will try.
That's what it's going to feel like the gladiators walk out into the Colosseum to fight for the death. That's what you have to be thinking.
Sainsbury's are proud to sponsor the London 2012 Paralympic Games. But you may have worked that out already.
An amazing summer of sport continues with the London 2012 Paralympics. We'll be looking at the extraordinary personal journeys athletes have taken to get here. And each night, chatting to the people who will make this the best games ever.
Jon Snow's Paralympic Show starts Monday at 7:30 on 4.
Saturday's T4 is an hour away, but before that, all the racing news you need in the morning line.
Gates fly.
After an eventful season around the world, the racing fraternity migrates to Britain to enjoy the idyllic conditions.
Has it really been a week since we last met? It has, and 7 eventful days have passed, and we look back on those and look forward to one